Thank you so much, Lolita. Hi, I'm Elise Smith. I'm the CEO of Praxis Labs, and we're advancing diversity and inclusion outcomes through virtual reality-based learning experiences. I want to start by talking about diversity and inclusion. I want to talk about race, I want to talk about gender, I want to talk about sexuality. And I want to talk about these topics because they are at the forefront of America's national conversation, of our global debate. With movements like Me Too and Black Lives Matter, millions have been mobilized around these issues, and customers and employees are no longer tolerating incidents of bias or discrimination in their workplaces or the places they frequent in their everyday lives. Now, companies are struggling to keep up with this new normal, and we see this in headline after headline of incident. Now, it's not because they don't care about it, it's because we haven't been addressing it properly. So, we know it costs companies beyond the headlines, beyond the PR, and it costs them to the tune of $64 billion. This is a number that's lost every year due to unfairness turnover because of bias and discrimination. This is the cost of losing at diversity and inclusion. The cost of winning, there's a huge upside. Now, companies that are more diverse and inclusive are more innovative, they make better decisions, and they're 43% more likely to have above average profits. This is worth prioritizing. And leaders at organizations know that. It's why they're spending $8 billion a year to scale up, to skill up, and to train specifically on diversity and inclusion. The challenge? They're spending their money on the wrong solutions. 63% of leaders will tell you they believe their trainings are ineffective. So what are these trainings that they're spending their money on? They're the e-learning modules, or what we call click-throughs, because that's what you do, you click through it. Or they're in-person facilitations where you go in and people are telling you that you might be racist, that you might be homophobic, and you shut down. That's where Praxis comes in. We're fundamentally reimagining what diversity and inclusion training can be, and we're using the perspective-taking, empathy-building power of virtual reality. So what that looks like is it means you put on a headset, and you can become someone with a different background, identity, perspective than yourself. You're able to go through a workplace narrative in which you're able to practice identifying, experiencing, and responding to incidents of bias and discrimination. It means you're able to choose how you want to respond when incidents inevitably happen, and it's practice that will help us change behaviors. So we pair our interactive VR experiences with a learning and reflection tool that allows employees to reflect on what they just went through, identify if they've seen that pattern of bias in their workplace, and make recommendations on how to make their workplaces more inclusive and foster a bigger sense of belonging. We know that Praxis is the solution that we've been waiting for. And we know this because studies have found that VR as a medium can increase learning retention as much as 60%. Research coming out of Stanford's Virtual Human Interaction Lab has actually found that VR experiences can increase inclusive behaviors by up to 22%. And Stanford's Virtual Human Interaction Lab, they are the preeminent lab around psychology research in empathy, bias, and behavior change. Beyond that, we know we're much more scalable than the best and most effective in-person training facilitations because we're going about it as a SaaS-based solution. Even more, we know that oftentimes people are opting in to these diversity and inclusion programs at about the rate of 30%. What if we could increase that through a more engaging, a more immersive, a more interactive learning experience that allows people to practice, choose their own experience, and to really develop the skills that they need to engage in the workplace in a different way? Like I said, we're targeting the $8 billion a year market, and that's growing because we know diversity and inclusion programs are gaining more year over year. We're focused right now on those Fortune 1000 companies who are spending about half of their D&I training budget on externally developed solutions, so that $1.6 billion number. Like I said, we're launching in 2020 with a suite of training modules and content that will go to market as a SaaS-based per-employee subscription model. And this summer, we're piloting with some big-name companies to prove out the technology, the solution, and the impact we're going to see. My team, I am so excited that we are the ones bringing this to market. We have experience working at IBM Watson in ed tech development, in B2B sales and partnerships. We also have experience at NASA in synthetic and computer vision, at Microsoft on the AR HoloLens, and one of our teammates actually builds and designs the experiences that Stamford Virtual Human Interaction Lab creates, and so much of our work is built on. She's a head 3D modeler and coder there. Beyond that, we have a team of research advisors who are making sure that our solution is research-backed and will have the impact we seek to see, and a bunch of business owners and advisors who are helping us get to scale. Even beyond that, we are a team of women of color who have had to experience bias and discrimination in our personal lives, in our professional lives, and it's not fair. It needs to stop, and we can fix it. If anything that I've said today is compelling, if you believe that organizations, companies in our society needs to be more diverse, equitable, and inclusive, please come chat with me after, and let's find ways for us to partner. We're Praxis Labs, and we're making organizations more inclusive, foster a better sense of belonging, and working towards that through virtual reality training. Thank you so much.